Okay, good morning everybody and welcome to this 1010 webinar. My name is Els and I will be your webinar moderator today. Today we will present you the development process of the different deliverables and their different criteria for approval. Now, before starting the presentation, I would like to remind you that all attendees are muted during the session. So you can, of course, enter your questions in the question panel of the GoToWebinar control panel. We will, after the presentation, review and answer your questions. Should your question not be answered today, you don't have to worry. The questions and the answers raised today will be made available on the CENELEC website. Please remember that CENELEC is also on Twitter, so should you want to tweet, you can use the hashtag 1010webinar to tweet about this webinar. Well, now it's time to give the floor to our speaker on the day. You will be guided through all this by my colleague Alexandre Bentrao. He's account manager in the digital production unit. So, Alexandre, the floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone. So I'll start the presentation on the development process of the different deliverables and the criteria for approval. Starting with the beginning, well, CEN and CENELEC have 4 types of deliverables. The first one is the European standard, the EN. Second one, the technical specification, TS. We also have technical reports, TRs, and CEN and CENELEC workshop agreements, the CWAs. Well, why do you have different deliverables? Different deliverables are different solutions to address different customer needs. In this case, we talk about customers in the wide sense, so everyone that can benefit from the deliverables. The CEN and CENELEC members, the industry, the European Commission. There are several things that are different in the several types of deliverables. The objective and the content. So these deliverables are written with different purposes. The participation is also different during the development of the deliverables. And there are different consequences at national level. So they are implemented differently at national level. And because of these 3 aspects, the approval criteria is different, and also the development process is different. Starting with the objective, the content of the deliverables. So the European standard is an European common technical solution agreed by everyone in Europe. So that's why all CEN and CENELEC members have to implement it at national level. And because it is implemented throughout Europe, the European Commission may take advantage of that and use some standards, the harmonized standards, to support European legislation. The technical specification is a document that has the same content, but it's not mature enough to be approved as an EN. It may be because there is no support, or there is a doubt on whether the consensus can be achieved, or this is still something that is being developed technically. The technical report is a completely different deliverable. The content is different. You cannot have requirements in the technical report. It's just an informative document. So you can have a survey, you can have a set of data, but you cannot have requirements. So the content is different. And finally, we have the workshop agreement, which reflects an agreement between a group of individuals or organizations that are responsible for its content. So, talking about the participation, so who is involved in the development of the deliverables? For the first 3, we can have, obviously, we have the CEN and CENELEC members, who participate through the delegation principle. So at national level, they have a mirror committee, and then they send a delegation to express their views to the European Committee. We have the partner organizations. The conditions for the participation of these partner organizations is in Guide 25, so the liaisons. Then we have the European Commission and the European Free Trade Association. And finally, we may have the affiliates and the companion standardization bodies. And the conditions for their participation is respectively in Guide 12 and in Guide 13. For the workshop agreement, we have the registered workshop participants developing the deliverable. So as I said before, the European standard has to be implemented at national level. So the publication is mandatory. And we do have a standstill, which means that when we start the work at European level, we cannot have work at national level, conflicting national work in parallel. It makes sense because afterwards this European standard has to be adopted at national level. So then there is no purpose to have developments at national level. For all other deliverables, because the publication is not mandatory, we just have an announcement and there is no standstill. Now, the criteria for approval of the deliverables. We have different criteria for CEN and CENELEC. So the European standard and the technical specification, the approval is done by weighted vote, but the criteria are different. In CENELEC, we need to have simple majority, so more than 50% of the votes cast. And then the weighted vote, we need to reach 71%. And the weighted votes are, the weights of the different members are defined in this Annex D1, which is in the internal regulations part 2. For CEN, it's a little bit different. So it's not a simple majority. We need a little bit more of the votes cast. We need 55%. And we also have a weighted vote, but the weights are the population of the countries of the members. So this is defined in a different annex of the internal regulations. And in case the proposal is not adopted in accordance with the previous criteria, so if you don't reach the 65%, then we recalculate again, but only with the members coming from the countries of the European Economic Area. The technical report, for the technical report, we just need to have a simple majority. And for the CEN-CENELEC workshop agreement, the decision is done by consensus. So the group decides to approve the deliverable in the absence of sustained opposition. Okay. And finally, so we reach the development process, which is different for all the deliverables. Starting with the EN, with the European standard. Initially, we have a drafting period that can last up to 8 months. In between, the technical committee has to circulate a working draft. Once this draft is matured, it is sent to CCMC, CENELEC Management Center, where we deal with the editing, we deal with the translation, and then we launch the inquiry, the 12-week inquiry. So during the inquiry, what happens is that we receive comments from all the participants, and we also have an associated vote. this vote is the weighted vote. And then two things can happen. If we have a positive weighted vote at that time, the technical committee can decide to skip the formal vote, and this decision is done by majority. This means that it is considered that we have reached an agreement already. So, and then the standard can be finalized and published. In that case, the comments are disregarded. So all the comments that we received during the inquiry are not considered, because we assume that the version is already agreed. If we don't have this positive vote during inquiry, or if the TC, or if we have a vote but the TC thinks that we should not skip the formal vote, then the comments are considered. So, and they have the technical committee and the working group have up to 8 months to consider the comments, to redraft the standard if needed be, and to send it again to CCMC for translation and editing before the final vote, 8-week final formal vote is done. And then if it is approved, the standard is finalized. So this is the process for the European standard. The technical specification, in the process of the technical specification, there is no inquiry. So we have 12 months to develop the standard, the technical specification, sorry. And then it goes straight to vote. And this vote is also a weighted vote. If it is positive, we publish the standard. So this is really a straightforward process. The technical report follows a little bit the same process, but it's a little bit shorter. And as I said before, the vote is not weighted, so a simple majority vote is enough to approve the technical report. The process for the CENELEC workshop agreement is flexible. So usually with it lasts between 6 to 18 months, but this is defined by the participants in the project plan. So they start by defining the scope, the objectives, the work plan, the deliverables, the CEN workshop agreement, and the financing. So we may have fees for the participation in the CEN workshop agreement. Then during the kickoff meeting, which is announced on our website, we confirm the plan, and it's when we also confer the secretariat and the chairmanship. Then in the plan we have already the foreseen meetings or steps for development, where the registered participants will participate. And there is, or should be, usually we have an open commenting phase for 60 days. This is announced on our website. So the participants will receive comments, and then usually there is a final meeting where the final CEN workshop agreement is agreed, and then the publication is announced by the CEN or CENELEC national members. So finally, the key learning points. So what have we learned today? Hopefully that the CEN and CENELEC have different deliverables: EN, TS, TR, CWA. Secondly, that different deliverables address different customer needs. That each deliverable is implemented differently at national level. That the criteria for approval is different for each deliverable. And that the development process is different for each deliverable.
Thanks a lot, that's clear. I suggest that we close down the webinar here. So thank you very much, Alexandre, for this interesting overview of all our deliverables. I would just like to invite you to our next 1010 webinar that will take place on the 10th of April. And during that webinar, we will explain you the new HAS consultant framework, which is a system that will replace the existing one of the new approach consultant. So thank you very much. I'm wishing you a further nice Friday and a nice weekend already. Bye-bye.